Alright guys, we are going to be talking about some interesting stuff today. Something that actually I've been pretty passionate about since I was in high school. I used to watch all the UFO hunters on History Channel, Ancient Aliens, all that stuff. Just have always been fascinated with the topic. I did a whole lot of research into it when I was younger. I actually presented in my Language Arts 4 class. Um, in a persuasive speech, an informative, I think it was an informative speech about UFOs. And one of the things that people always, oftentimes tend to get confused about when it comes to UFOs, they instantly think little green men, you know, running around in flying saucers. And I've maintained, since I was probably 17 or 18, that most of the UFOs that people are seeing, people are encountering, are actually secret military craft. I think that's a good percentage. Probably 90% are explainable as, secret experimental military aircraft. And, there have been investigations in the past. I think it was Project Blue Book. Not talking about Blue Beam, which is, I guess, the thing with projections into the sky to confuse people or something like that. I haven't done very much research into that one. Just an interesting little aside there. But Project Blue Book, where they looked into, multiple, I think probably hundreds of UFO sightings, and they said most of them were explainable. Just confusion. A lot of them were stealth bombers. Back in the day. Interesting little tidbit. Everyone knows about Roswell. That's the most famous UFO crash. But there was one that was actually before Roswell, near where I live. Cape Girardeau, Missouri, had a UFO crash. And they had emergency response. And apparently there were bodies. And apparently there was a Catholic priest that was called out to essentially, I think, either pray over them or read them their last rites. Look into that one. That one's fascinating. But back to the topic at hand, the current relevant information about UFOs. Recently, there were some two Navy pilots and a former Air Force intel officer, and he was also with the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. That's David Grusch. David Fravor and Ryan Graves were the two Navy pilots. Fravor, of course, was the pilot who caught the Tic Tac UFO on tape. If you haven't seen that, definitely worth a look. Very interesting what this craft was doing. It was defying the laws of physics based on this grainy black and white video, which, why is the military not capable of having better video equipment on these things? That's my question. There's probably a good reason for that. Maybe with the G's that it's pulling, a typical high quality camera might not do as well. I don't know, but awful convenient for them that you get grainy footage like that. Nonetheless, it's still intriguing. The Ryan Graves, the other Navy pilot, he's the one who had the dark gray or black cubes in clear spheres off the coast of California, I believe. That was in 2014. So both of them talked to Congress about that. And then back to David Grusch. He's the whistleblower. And I'm not sure how to take this guy. He speaks about, these UFO, or they call them UAPs now, unidentified aerial phenomenon. I'm not sure why they decided they needed to change the description, change the name for them. Maybe it's like every other government organization that just gets tired, gets bored every now and then and decides to change up their acronyms. I don't know. But he was apparently part of a UAP crash retrieval program for years, and had extensive knowledge on that. He also discusses that while they are absolutely retrieving these crashed craft and reverse engineering them so that we can use that technology, he also says that there were multiple non-human biologics or biological entities recovered from these craft. He stated in his congressional hearing that they do have these craft and they do have these bodies. And he said in a skiff, which is a side, more secretive kind of hearing, without cameras and stuff like that, he said that he could tell them where they were. After watching him, he clearly believes what he's saying. I think that's my opinion anyways. I think he definitely believes what he's saying. If all this is true, it's fascinating. One of the things that I picked up on when he was testifying was that he said, someone asked him, if they were aliens. He said, well, I hesitate to say aliens, but he said non-human biological entities or non-human biologics. And that got me thinking, and people always point out that if they, they can't be aliens because none of them are close enough to make it to us. They would have to be using like wormhole technology, which is, as of right now, science fiction. Just because the distance is too vast. And the closer you get to the speed of light, there ends up being time issues. You could still be young, everybody else ages dramatically. It's a bit of a problem. So he said, and I know there's the interdimensional being thing. Possible. That would make it a lot easier if they were literally right beside us. Here's a thought though, all right? Even since Christopher Columbus, sailed the ocean blue, there are writings where they discussed USOs, unidentified submerged objects. They didn't call it that. But glowing craft in the water, exploring, like checking their ships out as they were, at night. They would see these things at night. And one might think, well, maybe these were bioluminescent, like, schools of algae or fish or something like that. Possible, but, if they were seemingly moving with intelligence beyond that of, say, a small animal, it's definitely something to think about. And that leads me to believe, when he said, I hesitate to say aliens, non-human biological entities. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Atlanteans, guys. Who's to say, just saying, that with all of the ocean that we don't know about, that there isn't some type of civilization down there. And there are multiple reports of craft in the ocean, going, checking out Navy ships and then just shooting up out of the water. And then, other times where they're up in the air and then all of a sudden they go back in the water and they're gone. So it might not be as far out as you think, that we might actually have an intelligent race that is not human, but something else, but is living on the same planet as us. They just maybe don't feel the need to mess with us. And there could be some inner Earth stuff going on there. Don't know, getting a little bit into the weeds there. But, it's just a lot of interesting stuff to me. I'm really fascinated by the talk of it. My inherent distrust of government, though, makes me think that the reason that they're talking about these things now and coming out with it now is so that they can distract us or create a new boogeyman to get the public behind, public support to bolster defense, bolster the military budget that has just continued to explode. Fitting for the military, right? I don't know. Why now? That's the biggest thing. Why now? I'm inherently skeptical of government. So why would they be letting this stuff come out now? Everything should be taken with a grain of salt. While I think Grusch absolutely believes what he's saying, who's to say that he hasn't been malinformed by the government? Who is it? Bob Lazar? A lot of people think that he ended up a victim of misinformation from government agencies, because I think he was at Area 51 and he talks about what's the element? Element X or 41. I can't remember what the element was, but apparently it's theoretical. And he says they had it there and talks about craft and bodies and things like that. But it's very kind of similar you know, a little parallel there. So Grusch may have been exposed to a gigantic ruse to where he absolutely is telling the truth because he believes what he saw, and he believes he was given good information and good intel. Maybe not. I guess we won't really be able to have a solid opinion, an official, solid stance, until we see the evidence for ourselves. That's what it's going to take for me. At this point, it's mere speculation. I still think it's cool to think that, you know, we might have another civilization of intelligent beings with highly advanced craft that put ours to shame, living on this planet we don't even know about. That's just a cool thought. You know, if you guys like this type of video, let me know in the comments. Please like, follow, share. My channel's name is Billdozer74. I guess I'm the Billdozer. Thank you guys for watching. I really enjoyed this topic. Hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for watching.